For today's class, we're going to have some Vinyasa Flow, adding in a little bit of Yoga Sculpt. So we'll need to have a pair of weights, and that would be something that is rather light because it's going to be mostly upper body strengthening. I have a pair of 8 pounds, but if you wanted to use 5s or 3s or 2s, or if you just wanted to do no weights and just move your body. Similarly, when we get to the lower body, if you wanted a heavier weight, you can have those also available. And with management of our equipment, we'll just want to make sure our dumbbells are within easy reach, just on either side of the top of our mat. So with that, we're going to come into our mountain pose with our feet underneath our hips, arms alongside the body, our eyes are soft and closed. As we take a deep inhale through the nose, feeling a lengthening of our posture, a lifting of the crown of the head. Then exhale, we can relax into the pose. Using the breath to establish awareness to the body. As we start to bring movement to our breath, let's take an inhale, rising the arms up to the sky, bringing palms to meet and hands down to our heart center. Continuing to flow our arms, again inhaling to lift, raising arms to sky, and exhale to bring hands down. Flowing a few more times. And then we'll let this arm circle sweeping flow become a little bit deeper of a movement as we begin to flow in and out of our chair pose. Again, inhaling, raising the arms to the sky. Exhale, sinking hips down into chair. Inhaling, we raise back up. And exhale. We'll take one more circling flow of the arms, and then making this into a twisting chair. We'll inhale to raise the arms up to the sky, rotating and twisting to the right where the left arm comes forward, the right arm comes back. Inhaling, raising back up. This time as we twist to the left arm comes back. Continuing to flow side to side with the breath, working to maintain the hips squaring forward so the rotation is occurring through the torso. We'll flow one more time on each side. As we inhale, both arms up to the sky, let's bring palms to meet and hands to heart center. From here, stepping to the long edge of our mats, preparing for moonflowers and sunflowers. We want our feet wide and our toes and knees turned outward. From here, inhaling, arms up and out to 5-pointed star. Exhale, we sink down, elbows into our sides, knees tracking to toes. We're going to alternate this with a sunflower, where arms come sweeping underneath. Again, inhaling to raise up, 5-pointed. Exhale, sinking straight down for moonflowers. Inhaling up, exhale, circle sweeping for sunflowers. We'll flow one more of each. First sinking straight down into moonflower, and then circling for our sunflower. As we inhale, arms up to the sky, letting palms meet, and hands coming to heart center. Let's step to the top of the mat. Feet drawing underneath our hips, back into mountain pose. For forward fold, we'll inhale to sky. Exhale, releasing down into the fold. Flowing a couple more times just to lengthen back the legs. Moving through the hips and glutes and relaxing through the spine. We'll take one more time through our forward fold, meeting at the bottom of the fold. From here, stepping back into all fours with our wrists underneath shoulders, knees underneath hips as we prepare for our cat-cow, first arching through our backs into cow pose, then rounding into cat. Continuing to flow with the breath. Let's move through one more of each. First into cow pose, and then into cat. As we come back into neutral spine, hips to heels, in our child's pose. Arms extending forward, little rock gently side to side. As we work to warm up our upper body with a modified Vinyasa Flow, let's first shift forward into kneeling. Little yogi push-up, we lower halfway. Pressing back up and hips to heels in child's pose. Continuing to move with breath. Noticing the straight line from hips to shoulders. When we move through that push-up, lower and lift. And one more time. Where we can ultimately meet back into our child's pose. From here, tucking and lifting, moving into downward facing dog. Where we'll take a moment to pedal our heels, pressing one heel to mat, shifting to the other side. Noticing the elongation through our torso, with our hips pulling up to sky, and the softening and relaxing of the back of the legs and the calves as we pedal our heels. With both heels pressing towards the mat, let's make our way into forward fold. Feet underneath our hips, and as we inhale, raising up to the sky, flowing through a chair pose so we can begin our sun salutations. First inhaling to rise to sky. Exhale, we release into fold. From here, stepping our right foot back into lunge, we'll move into a high lunge, arms reaching upward to the sky. From here, we'll release our hands down, moving into downward facing dog. With strength in the core, shifting to plank, half lower for chaturanga, upward facing dog, and back into downward facing dog. With the right foot stepping forward, we raise arms to sky, inhaling breath, releasing and stepping into fold. With our next inhales, we rise, moving through our chair pose. Continuing to flow on the other side. Exhale to release into fold. From here, stepping the left foot back, arms raise up to sky, high lunge. We'll release, finding our downward facing dog. Moving through Vinyasa, first to plank, chaturanga, upward facing dog, and downward facing dog. With our left foot stepping, we'll raise the arms back to sky, releasing, finding a fold. As we rise arms to sky, inhaling breath, and flowing through chair. One more salutation sequence. As we step back with the right foot, nice long lunge stance. And we release our hands, finding downward facing dog. Let's shift forward into plank, lowering and lifting to up dog. Finding our way back into downward facing dog. With the right foot stepping forward, let's inhale to rise. With an exhale, releasing, stepping to fold. And we'll rise to sky, inhaling and moving through chair. With the next breath, let's meet into our forward fold. As we take a moment to settle here, we'll step our right foot back into warrior one. First finding our stance and then finding our dumbbells. So stance first, dumbbell second. We'll raise our torso so that we're squared forward. And in our warrior one stance, adding some bicep curls, curling hands towards our shoulders and releasing back down. So it's an inhale to lower, exhale to lift. We'll have 2 more repetitions. And after our last one, we're going to step onto our front leg, coming into a hinged position like our warrior 3, and with palms facing towards the body, a wide row, pulling arms up and out and releasing down. If we need to, we can always tap that back foot down for a little stability, or if we want more challenge, keeping that back leg lifted. We have 2 more. And after our last one, tapping our foot back down, turning and opening into our warrior 2. Once we have our warrior 2 stance, shoulders back and down, torso open, we'll do an upright row where we inhale to pull the arms up, exhale to release down. Nice smooth movement, focusing that movement to the breath. And 1 more. From here, moving into reverse warrior, where we take the front arm, lifting up to sky, holding here, isometric work for the shoulder. As we bend the front knee a little bit more, coming forward and down into side angle. From here, adding some rotation with that top arm, or bring the arm in, releasing down, pulling up and pressing to sky. And releasing in and down, rotate and press. Keeping the dumbbell close to the body as if it's traveling in a straight line up and down. One last repetition. And then from here, releasing down and making our way into downward facing dog. Let's place our knees down to the mat. Hips to heels, and if you're like me and have the dumbbells closer to the top of the mat, just pulling them down a little bit. Taking a moment to rest, regaining control of the breath. As we start to shift forward, hands will go wide, knees or toes will find yogi push-ups, or we lower down with the inhale. Exhale to press. We'll have 2 more. And releasing back into our child's pose. Let's ultimately shift into our downward facing dog. Repeating that sequence for the other side, we'll step the right foot forward, finding warrior one stance first. Then once we have our stance, finding our dumbbells, resetting our shoulders and squaring to the front. This time with hammer curls, we'll take the weights forward, knuckles forward, releasing down. We'll have 2 more. And our last one. And as we release our dumbbells, stepping on that front foot, again like warrior 3, this time dumbbells face center so we can find a reverse fly. Opening arms out to the side, and again you can always tap that toe down. More challenge for the front leg if lifted. And our last one. Let's release and turning open for warrior 2 stance. And taking time to find our stance and adjust as needed. Again, upright row. Inhaling, we exhale, we lift. Inhale, lower, exhale to lift. I almost said that backwards, but as long as you're breathing, that is totally fine. We have 2 more. And our last one. Maintaining lower body. Reaching front arm to sky for reverse warrior. And feeling that isometric work on the front arm. And then we bend that front knee more to come forward and down into side angle. And again, inhale, we're lifting to sky. And then press. We're going to have 1 more. As we release down, again making our way first to down dog, and then into our child's pose. Taking a moment, letting the shoulders relax, reestablishing the breath. As we can shift our weight forward, hands once again wide for those push-ups, knees or toes. Inhale, we lower, exhale, we press. And we'll have 1 more. Ultimately releasing back into our child's pose. Let's make our way into downward facing dog. Ultimately to the top of our mat into forward fold. From here we'll find our dumbbells as we roll our shoulders to bring us into standing. Resetting those feet so that is underneath our hips. And then we'll sink down into our chair pose. From here, some tricep kickbacks. We'll lift up and press in and release back down. Trying to stay in control of the weight the entire time, so there's no swinging or momentum. We have 2 more. And our last one. Releasing to shoulder roll. From here, we'll step wide on our mat into just a little bit of a wide squat stance, almost as if we were going to do moonflowers and sunflowers again. And we'll take those dumbbells together in center. Alternately, we can put one of them down, and we're going to sink down into our thighs. From here, we're going to rotate and twist towards the left and back to the center. Twist to the right and back to the center. Moving this twist just through our torso and not through our knees or our ankles. We have 1 more each direction. Quick moment of standing to release the legs, and then we'll focus one side at a time, bringing weights back together as we sink down. First to the left side. We'll go a little bit quicker, like we're pulsing to the left side. Two more. And now pulse to the right. And last one, releasing and stepping back to the top of the mat. Weights can come down for just a moment as we take a shoulder roll, bringing arms behind for a chest expansion. Inhaling deep breath, allowing both arms and legs to relax. As we release our arms, taking another shoulder roll, and then we'll squat down, picking our weights back up nice and safe, where we come back to mountain pose. From here, pairing upper and lower together, we'll step the right foot back into a lunge pose, and first just starting with some static lunges, where we drop that back knee down and rise back up. And last one. Now we'll go down and hold, and bringing our arms to 90 degrees, lift and lower the arms. And one more repetition. Releasing the arms, releasing legs, stepping forward. A little release, shake out through those legs. Now for the other side, left leg goes back. Again, establish our lunge stance, and we lower down with an inhale, exhale, and we lift. We have one more repetition. Now we're down and hold. From here, arms are going to stack up for overhead press, and we press and release. We have one more. And again, relax the arms, the legs, and step forward. We're going to find that sequence one more time, each side. So right foot steps back, and again, drop and lift. Seeing if we can get full range of motion. We have two more. Now we drop and hold, arms to 90 degrees for our side raise. And one more. Release the arms, the legs, and stepping forward. One more time for the left side, establishing our stance, and we drop and lift. One more rep. Now we're down and hold for the overhead press. Two more. And our last one. Release the arms, the legs, and return forward. We can place our weights down for a moment, rolling our shoulders, again, giving our hands a break, our arms a break. Again, chest expansion, inhaling. And we can stay here, or for more of a back bend, placing fists on either side of the sacrum to come into standing camel. So just a chest expansion or camel, our choice. As we raise back up to tall posture, grabbing hold of our dumbbells one more time. We're going to finish with some legs. From here, doing our straight leg deadlift, where we want to soften our knees, coming forward, and then exhale to lift back up. So with this movement, we're trying to think of our range of motion. Some of us have more mobility through our hips. What we want to do is come forward where we have a neutral spine. We want to avoid any sort of rounding, because that wouldn't be safe on the spine. So just to that point, about the knees and raising back up. We have one more, and we're going to pair this with some calf raises. So our feet are still underneath us. We'll lift up to our toes, and then release back down, barely touching those heels back down to the mat. Control of movement is key. And we have one more. Then one more round of each. Again, neutral posture. Let's tilt forward and then use the glutes to bring the pelvis back to neutral. And one more. Then last time with our calf raises, lifting to toes and heels back down. And our last one. From here again, very carefully putting our weights back down to the mat. And as we inhale, arms to the sky, let's gently release into our fold. Holding here so we can stretch out through the back side of the body, through those hamstrings, glutes, through our back, our spine. Big deep inhale breath, exhale to our relaxing breath. As we ultimately make our way down to the mat, into our child's pose. You can move a little rock side to side in the hips, relaxing through those glutes. As we simultaneously add in a lateral flexion, walking both hands off to the right side. Deep inhale breath to the side body. And walking hands off to the other side. Let's come back to the middle, into neutral and all fours. We're going to need one of our dumbbells just off to the side next to the right hand. And what we're going to do is a partner movement of a row, a side extension, while also being in our all fours or spinal balance. So what we'll want to do is place weight into the left palm, taking the left leg out, first starting with a little kickstand with the toe down so we can learn the movement. And then with our weight, we're going to lift to a row, extend out to the side, in, and then release down. So it's up, Press out, in, and release. If we'd like to have more challenge in the core, we'll just lift that leg away from the mat. We have 2 more. And our last one. As we release down to all fours, we can move our weight to the other side of the mat. From here, a moment in child's pose, just so that we can relax through the center of the body. Make sure we're not putting excessive pressure into our spine. And then returning back to our all fours position. This time, weight into the right palm, right toe goes back. So we find the dumbbell with our left hand. And again, we lift up, press out, in, and release down. When we feel ready, lifting that back leg away from the mat. Two more. And our last one. As we release the weight, once again, all fours, and then just a moment in our child's pose. And slowly rise ourselves up, swinging our legs around so that we can come into seated. And as we find our dumbbells, we're going to move into our boat pose and add a little rotation, just like a Russian twist. A little side to side flow. We do have the option, if we'd like, to keep our heels down. That'll allow us to focus a little bit more on the obliques and the abdominals, with our legs lifted, a little bit more strengthening for our hip flexors. So again, whatever place we would like to be, more challenge would be leaning back further. We'll have 4, 3, 2, and our last one brings us back to center, where our dumbbell can officially go back for the end of class. As we come onto our backs now, resetting to our neutral spine. From here, lifting into a bridge pose where we press our heels up to the sky. We have the option for more openness in our shoulders and chest by walking up onto the back of the shoulders, maybe even adding hands interlaced underneath. And as we release down, let's bring those knees into chest. A little gentle rock side to side, massaging the low back. We'll have the option to repeat back bend with either a bridge or full wheel pose. So we'll first meet with bridge, feet hip distance apart on the mat. From here, pressing into the heels to lift the hips to sky. We can stay here, walk higher onto our shoulder blades, or if we'd like that full back bend of wheel, flipping palms, extending our arms to straight to bring the spine into a rainbow. Releasing from our back bend of choice and bringing knees into the chest. As we let our feet flow back down to the mat, taking the left leg long, shifting the hips, and letting the right knee come across the body into supine spinal twist. Deep inhales and exhales. Relaxing and releasing any tension in the spine. As we come back onto our backs, let's re-square our hips to find supine twist on the other side. The left knee coming across the body, just as we did on our first side, relaxing arms and legs, torso. Allows us to remove all tension from the spine. And we come back to our backs, re-squaring the hips, bending the knees. Let's bring the right leg in and up to the sky. For a hamstring stretch, we can let the left leg go long on the mat. As we move into a supine figure four, crossing that lifted foot over the opposite knee, bringing the knee into chest. Let's release on this side. Now the left leg will go up to the sky. Hamstring stretch. Now we move into that figure four stretch, crossing the left heel over the right knee as we bring the right knee into chest. And we'll finish our practice with a moment of final relaxation where legs go long on the mat, arms alongside the body, allowing the eyes to soften and close. The body is restful. The breath is easy and natural. As we start to bring awareness to our breath, and gentle movement to the body, wiggling fingertips and toes, rolling wrists and ankles. As we start to bend our knees, Let's draw ourselves up to a seated position on the mat, our easy seated. As we find our hands to our knees, our eyes are soft and closed. Just some inhales and exhales. As we ultimately bring hands together at our heart center in our Anjali Mudra. And as the light in me honors the light in you, Namaste.